Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Calvadas? Here. Mr. Caucus?
Here.
Mrs. Fascio? Here. Mr. Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Wood?
Here.
Mr. Bastor?
Here.
And Mr. Ray?
Here. Okay. Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2014. And two, emailed to the retrospect and courier post on January 6, 2014. New business. Discussion of public hearing for ordinance creating accident investigation committee. Since there's only three of us here, is everyone aware of what it is? There was a resolution previously that established the committee. It established it by name, like people's names. So what we've done is we have a sample of, did you see this one? It's just one paragraph, I think.
We don't have any in our paper, but
Just an ordinance creating.
Do you have it?
It was at the last meeting.
no.
It was at the last meeting. All it is it says the safety coordinator, the police chief, the fire chief. It was very simple. The idea that,
So the ordinance is going to create, going to list the categories or the job titles.
that's it on the committee, and that's it. There's really it doesn't give a whole lot of parameters. It simply was, because it was created, I guess, maybe the JIF many years ago, had asked for it, and then we kind of lost track of it.
It's a JIF.
It's a JIF. So, we didn't do first read or anything on that, did we?
Yeah, we did. This was, the public hearing's coming up on the 4th.
Oh, so we have a public hearing.
Here it is. That's the original, so handle
We
it
took
there.
it from the resolution, and it's just by title now, instead of by name. Yeah, okay. All right, any
Naturally.
other questions from that?
Sure, it was the last page.
Discussion of renewal of liquor licenses. Is there an issue, Joyce, on this?
The only one I have returned to me is from the fire department, Pete's Place. And a third one came in, I can't remember which one it is. And so no one else has returned them, so
And we've sent them
hopefully we'll have something
licenses?
by the 4th.
They're doing it for?
The Holiday Inn is going to be an issue. Brian was just notified today that of the new corporate name, and it was a transfer by $10, so I'm assuming that Babish is probably still involved in it somehow.
Okay.
But the transfer would need to be done, and that hasn't been, I
So
don't
the
know.
corporation would have to be on that liquor license, the new
Yeah,
corporation.
the old corporation got transferred, they got to.
So they have to do all that, and they haven't done any of that yet, so I don't know how that will play out.
And their license will expire.
Do we have an obligation? I think what you're asking is, we've asked these people to pay. You didn't call some of these people.
No, they were hand delivered
So
all
when is
the
it, June
paper.
30th?
June 30th. I asked them to have it before the 4th, so we
So
don't know.
on the 4th, on the 5th, we'll write up a letter and say, you did not submit your renewal application in time for the meeting. Your license expires on June 30th. And you can reapply it, but as of June 30th is the last day you can operate with a license. And then we'll
I
send it
assume
to
I'll
the
be
state.
getting the others in at the last minute.
Yeah, I would guess they'll be hand delivered to you about 4:55 on Tuesday.
Discussion to waive yard sale rules and regulations. We have a townwide yard sale, but the ordinance calls for everyone to be on, to get a permit for that. So is that something we can just do as a resolution just for this one time, townwide?
It's
or
not
not?
an individual, it's a townwide
It's a
event.
townwide event, but, I mean, we have, what, 50, 60 homes at this point,
So
so.
somebody, was it some group who put it together?
The borough,
So it's a borough sponsored.
it's a borough-sponsored event, but we have this ordinance. Do we need to do anything to make sure?
Let's just do a resolution that says it's a borough sponsored event, the intent of the ordinance was for individual yard sales, so.
When is that yard sale?
June 7th.
So we should do it at the next meeting?
It's already done.
Rain day, June 8th.
So we can put it on the agenda
For
for,
June, yeah. That's why this is all here.
okay, so it's already on there.
Yeah, let's do.
All right, so we have a no, we just have to have a resolution, okay. Discussion of hiring part-time Class 2 officer, has that been approved at this point? Do you have anything?
Does anyone know anything about this person?
I know the name of the individual.
I don't know if this is the same person.
that?
I think that was the key, was whether the person had coverage with another municipality.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was the same person you talked about.
We set a parameter that we were gonna hire somebody that if they were already trained, that we wouldn't have to, what happened in the
Yeah, I
past,
know what
you know what happens. You know, you hire somebody and then you get a bill from their previous employer saying, you owe us because we trained him. So I think that was the last thing that said to him.
Right, but I'm not sure that was the same person.
This is him.
So the idea was, before we hire somebody, we want a letter stating that we're held harmless if there was anything
The
happening.
discussion item is for, I'll pass it around. They conducted their background check and had an informal interview and recommending the individual for hire. So today, Chief was asking me about how the law works for the officer's training fees. Because apparently an officer can't pay the municipality directly, they would have to pay us, and then we have to reimburse the municipality for the training fee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one thing I'm not clear of is if it relates to this gentleman who he recommended for hire, so I'll have to follow up with the chief on that. But
Okay.
I would assume if everything was in order, we'd be requesting an action item for the second.
We have an opening, we're allowed 4 class 2s, we only have 3 at this time, and I think that was the idea, was to have someone that's a backup. We can get some more information before Tuesday, next Tuesday.
All right.
I don't have a problem with it. One of the questions, though, is should we swear class 2s in? You think that's proper all the time? I think, I think it should be. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. So you want to take care of that, Rich? At least talk to Paul and get him a sense. I don't have any notes from Eleanor, but I'm pretty sure she was aware of this. Yeah. Discussion of sewer adjustments. Is there any more discussion on that class too? Is there anything you need to say? Okay.
I just need that back, so I have his name at least.
Okay.
Resolution.
Well, if we're going to swear him in, we ought to let him know that we're going to swear him in, so if he passed everything. Sewer adjustments, you have that?
That's we came upon a situation a few months ago. We discovered that someone was being billed as a duplex. Someone's property was being billed as a duplex. So it caused us to investigate. John Gunn investigated a bunch of them that we had as duplexes, and they're going to be listed on a resolution to remove the charge.
So they're actually single-family homes,
Correct. Yeah,
and we have them listed as duplexes.
correct.
Okay.
I've never heard from the other.
You never heard from her?
The other
Okay.
resident, you passed a resolution to rebate it to 13.
And that was the deal.
The issue was raised, we go back 2 years. So I communicated with them and said, this is what we're willing to do, and then you'll release the barrel, and we'll, on condition that quid pro quo will be purchased as well. But you have to sign the release, and you have to sign the PO. And Trish already sent her the PO for
I sent her the second PO too. She didn't sign
She
that.
signed either one.
So,
So
this is what.
should we just, now we amended hers also from a duplex to
Yeah.
single?
Well, she was.
So moving forward?
That was
She
a
was
different
vacant
situation.
Oh, she was vacant.
That was a different situation.
What's that?
There's
Vacant
zero,
land.
there's zero.
Vacant land.
So there's zero on the book, so going forward,
Okay.
she decides she wants to buy it because she wants to sign the PO.
Okay. So was this like a little halfway audit we did with all duplexes? Did he run around and look at all the duplexes, or
Looked at all the ones that were suspicious, yes.
how did he define suspicious? You know?
Well, by looking at the address, we knew that this possibly was not a duplex. So we investigated that.
Okay. Interesting.
It was.
How would you not notice that on your bill, that you're being charged as a duplex?
Well, I find the land one more where.
Did she pay the sewer bill for what?
For years.
For years? 10, 12 years?
She paid last year.
Oh,
It was what she got in 2014.
and no house. Discussion of removal of senior and vet deductions, do we have
And
somebody?
that's another thing I've been looking at, some of our senior and vet deductions. And it's not, I don't know how to explain this, but sometimes it takes months for us to get the notice of a change of hands. And for some reason, there are 1 or 2 that have slipped through the cracks that Brian didn't catch or I didn't catch, and they were not entitled to it, so I have a resolution to remove them.
For
Real
2014?
estate taxes or sewer?
Real estate taxes.
Yeah, because the title companies will normally adjust right at the closing, and
Well,
you get
well,
a
they
strange
should-
number.
they should,
It should
though.
be, no, they generally do, actually. And then we would get a strange, you would get a strange number check.
You're right, but they should send us the checks, and a lot of title companies, I think, have adopted a policy that if the tax office doesn't ask, they won't send the check. I think I think they have a great slush fund.
Yeah, normally not, but okay.
Okay, so discussion of canceling credit due to subdivision.
This was a property that was subdivided, and it's just housekeeping to get rid of, all the money's been moved already.
Staying on that for just a second, back in 2009, we adopted an ordinance for tax map maintenance. It was a GIS, $50 or $100 per subdivision.
$45 property line adjustment, and we should get copies of any lot line adjustment.
Because it's been 5 years now, and the idea would be, well, it hasn't, we did update the tax maps recently. Are we aware that we are collecting that money?
I just collected one for someone who is subdividing their property. I collected these
Nobody's-
$65.
It depends on if it's,
We actually entered it in a new escrow program that we have. I entered it as a separate entry. So let's see,
something should get done, so we get notified of that,
Okay.
and we get copies of either the planning board approved plan or the subdivision plan.
That's the preferable.
Somehow.
Of the planning board?
I think
Sometimes
it's
they
just,
do it by
I don't think the
title.
resolution has been done, what do they call it, memorialized?
Memorialized for that.
It was just happened when you were last meeting.
Was it the one on Close Ridge Road?
Yes.
Okay.
But it still has to, a subdivision requires action, so there's always going to be a resolution, even if it doesn't have variance.
So the planning board resolution should be,
And Jude's been doing a good job of
Yeah.
sending me stuff like minutes, and stuff, but I need the actual plan.
in the legal description showing the new lot.
Now, those lots.
Well, that's the point, and that's what I think, so
We're missing that step.
we haven't done, do you know if we've updated since the, okay. That's one thing I think we ought to definitely somehow figure out a mechanism to do it, maybe yearly, do you do it yearly, or?
Well, it should be with each application.
Yeah.
So you mean we just
So you want to
update?
be copied on the applications?
It's all electronic.
Plan, the approved plan.
Approved plan.
So once it's memorialized by, see,
Once-
they pass an approval.
Right, so
and
you
then-
go to a meeting, they approve it, okay? At
Right.
that point, here's a plan. That's the plan that Mark needs. The next month, they do the resolution.
Right.
Okay, Mark needs the plan, that's the next to the last meeting.
And that's only for subdivision?
The plan.
Right, or yeah,
Or
or
normally, if there's a site improvement where we're going to be expecting agency.
Yeah, this isn't a,
We get copy of the plans for those, but for the lot line adjustments, we need those as well.
okay.
And there's nothing in place to get that.
Okay.
Could you send a letter to June, just telling her that she has to send it every time? And the bad part is, we need to go back a little bit now, don't we?
I'll tell her to go back for, how long have you not had one?
I know, Council, in 2009 was the first ordinance I brought to the table. That's my
We've
first
had,
one.
we've had subdivisions.
But we never collected any money. And that was the argument. We were never collecting money, so there was no mechanism to pay to update the tax maps. So you brought a standard cookie cutter ordinance that just said collect this for everything.
can you go back that far?
Well, hopefully we collected the money. We have to go back, there should be minutes for everything, so there should be some kind of paperwork on every one of these subdivisions to do this.
Right, the problem is they don't pay, so they already have the subdivision, there's nothing you can do. The truth is, that planning board and that whole process, that before there's ever anything issued in terms of permits, that's one of the checklist items, that did they pay the subdivision fee, whatever you call it. That should be a checklist item from your code enforcement before they issue permits.
Now, the tax,
Sure.
the tax assessor's got it. He'll change the number, correct? So we're charging taxes on these subdivisions,
Yeah,
but we just haven't updated our maps.
right.
Okay.
But in
So,
terms of the fees, if you already got the fees, that should be a checklist item from the code officer, whoever the person is that issues permits.
that line's $50, whatever.
They paid for their lot line adjustment fee or whatever it's called.
Okay. We have to hire someone to do all these applications and update all our applications. Okay, so I'll bring it up at the planning board also. Discussion of releasing performance bond for the vault. That was something that was requested, I guess, from the engineer. That should be
Where
no
does that
problem.
stand? not received anything. And Len, you haven't received anything?
Our letter says contingent on them giving you a maintenance bond.
I have not. Okay.
So there's no interest now.
So if they don't do it, okay.
So unless I get a bond and Len approves the form of it, then this one I will go on.
Discussion of ordinance road opening moratorium. This was sent over from our engineer. Obviously, the notes that I have very quickly is it looks okay. Obviously, we need an application again, unless we have a current application that needs to be updated. And accounting for the money, but it sounds like we have a system for that. Did you get a chance to look at this one?
I did.
The only thing that I noticed when I printed out our current, and this is where Joyce kind of says we have to be a little careful, is obviously meshing the two together or throwing one away and bringing one
Well,
in.
if it's that comprehensive, it may be, you may be better served just replacing the whole board.
Yeah, the only thing I know,
Trying to cookie cutter it.
yeah, and I hear you, I agree. The only thing I think I did like in our old one was we charged more money. And this was established in 2001, they updated the road opening permits. So that would be the only thing and when I say more money, it wasn't ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but
It was more round numbers.
You just give that to Mark, he can incorporate it into his thing.
Yeah, see, and I cost about 50 to 100, because that's what our current application says, $100. And that seems negligible, right, to open a street, $100?
Wait,
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the escrow required in that now?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so $100 to cut open the street is not a big deal. Now, there is a
we
bond.
have an auction.
I go higher, I go higher. So that would be the only thing I would,
That's fine. If that was,
I agree with everything else you have here. I mean, the only thing else I crossed out was, and that was only because it seemed like accounting to have all this extra, for each additional 10 square feet. Who's going to do all this math? Unless the engineer does the math. A non-refundable fee in the amount of $50, I changed that to 100 for the first 20 square feet or part thereof of any opening, and $10 for each additional 10 square feet up to 200 square feet. So I guess that is to get $2,000 for the application?
what had happened was, Magnolia only had, this is where it was came from, they only had, at the time, $50 road application. The utility would come in, open up the whole road, hey, here's my $50. So they were trying to make
Charge
this,
per opening.
pardon?
We charge per opening.
No, it was one opening.
One opening, they cut out the whole,
One opening 500 feet
you
long.
could open the whole street, one opening.
Is that how they got around it?
Yeah.
So that's why it was.
So they would go down the whole, South Jersey Gas goes down, put all new gas lines in.
Leave in.
So leave it. Okay. Now, who does this go to? Joey, you are gonna get this?
Yeah, well, Mark, you did this initially, so we'll just record.
Yeah, and obviously the numbers coincide with our book and our chapter. That's the only part that I thought that meshing, because we're chapter 326 for some, they have a different numbering system, I guess we.
Yeah, so we could just be 326 and then sub-number.
Sub-number everything else.
But all that's important is that it's 326.
Okay.
So
How much is the escrow one? Do they charge an escrow for the utility companies?
Yeah.
They do. See, we don't charge that
No, it's a
now.
bond. Well, it's an escrow for the inspection, but a bond for maintaining. They have like a $50,000 bond that they carry for the whole year.
Correct. But
But there is escrow.
there is escrow, even for the utility companies.
Correct.
Oh, how much?
Depends on the size.
Really? We don't have that in there at all.
Right, and then what happens is the utility company will come in, trench the whole road, put a couple inches of asphalt, and then it'll settle in 3 years.
Yes.
And you're left with a pothole.
Well, we do have it, in our
Yeah.
ordinance, what is it, 18 months?
Well, this is also 18, was this 18 months?
John Gunn
For
inspects.
utilities, it was 3 years,
You have it 3 years?
And for homeowners, it's 18
and
months.
homeowners 18 months.
And what do you charge escrow for a homeowner? Same rates as you do for utility?
It's
Lower.
lower, because generally a homeowner's only doing the 20 square feet.
See, it's more in our case, we charge $1,800 for.
Well, that's why I say we gotta mesh the two
Escrow.
together, we gotta mesh them together, and I think we
We
are
have
being
more-
higher, is that what you think?
Have more problems with the private openings than with the utility.
Well, there's a permanent fee and then a non-returning escrow fee, a non-returning one. That becomes escrow, and then if you want wants to go out and inspect it, there's money there, or if you want Public Works to go out and inspect it, it reimburses their expenses.
And it has that paragraph about the better joints of newly paved roads. Did you read that? Anybody see all that? Or? Okay, so I think it's great. It's, we just got to mesh it together. I think we're fine. It doesn't help us for the roads we've already done, but moving
We're
forward.
open that soon.
Discussion of clothing bin ordinance. Len, do you want to discuss that, or?
Well, we were asked to just draft one so there would be some regulation, which we did. We just didn't know what numerically were. So there's no place to see all these strange little
Yeah.
flags. So I don't know what section it's going to be covered with. I started to try to figure it out, but it was, I got it. So we just tried to give it some control and make sure that, there weren't going to be eyesores, weren't going to be in places where there would be dangerous, hazardous, et cetera, et cetera.
I did talk to Ben, well, the notes that I had originally was application again. It's another application form we have to have. And once again, where does the money go? If it's just a fee, does that just go in the general account if it's just a fee? So application, and then the annual permit fee is $25 per bin. And then the note I wrote under permit application requirements, B, the amount of compensation, if any, that the owner of the property is receiving for the installation of the bin. From what I understand with these bins, a lot of them, they get money every month. They get paid monthly or annually to put these bins in. Does that sentence because installation, it's not just, they're not getting necessarily paid to install it. They're getting paid to have it sit there. And every month they get a check for $50 or $100. Because a lot of these aren't donation bins. They're actually making money off of these bins.
Yeah, so we need a better word. We'll change the word.
That was the only thing, because I know that some people are getting $50, $100 per bin.
We'll change the word.
And then the only thing that Bev had pointed out was
Where are we?
we're on, well, it's on placement of bins. So placement of bins, and it was real good, within 100 yards of any place which stores or sells large amounts of fuel, flammable liquids, and interferes with vehicle or pedestrian circulation. I talked about, the only thing she thought was, how do we, what if somebody just drops on their lawn? Like, how do we say that that's not appropriate? We have the ability to say that it has to be in a, qualified spot, like,
What do you mean?
well,
They can't put a bin in front of anybody's house, is trying to say.
well, no. The point her point was, you've got these little tiny lots that it may not be in a parking space, which you would argue, a parking spot, you can't put in a parking spot unless you have enough parking spots.
So we're not going to give them a permit.
Yeah, but if do we need any teeth though with that for the zoning officer to say, they just dropped it on
Well,
is anywhere in the parking lot not available?
You apply for a permit.
There's
And
one
so
corner
on
of
our
our street.
application is going to provide, a location.
Right.
Where is it going to be?
And then we have to approve it. Okay. As long as there's a mechanism that just allows the zoning officer to say that, like you said, if it was anywhere in the parking lot, you could almost argue that it shouldn't be there because the parking lot is for cars.
You have to specify that when you're at the planning board, right?
Well, when you go for the permit, because it doesn't require.
This doesn't know about this, it's just going to be that we're like a key.
So for the permit, you
Right.
still have to put on there where it's going.
A location.
That's right.
So I guess he would go out and check it.
So if you had a scenario where you were really close, where somebody was actually under the parking, but they had gotten a variance because of their size, now they're going to put a bid there that takes up 2 acre spaces, then you're not going to give them a permit. Because you're going to create a whole other hazard by taking away 2 acre spaces in an already undersized parking area. So that's something you have to have to feel for.
Yeah. That was the only comment she had, was she thought that there was, but how do you, how big the lot was? That was the note I wrote down. The note was the lot size, but how do you, lot size? It's more about where it goes on the lot, correct? You can have a tiny lot, but if you have a little area.
Yeah, determination, the determination for the DARE program right back here, I would say that do the lot spot.
Well, we probably should move those two. They're actually impeding traffic.
Why?
You want to answer that? Because she's always yelling at me.
I'm not sure.
Onto the parking
In the
lot.
parking lot. Remember for the cars to back up and turn out?
Right.
The reason that lot is carved out like that is because
So you can do K turns or
so
whatever.
you do a K-turn. So we now you can't do a K-turn.
Well, the DARE program's been paying for itself, too. With these bins,
Question.
question. They have.
But they do is they get credits, and it helps them purchase stuff, so.
Yeah, for the kids, for the school.
Yeah, yeah. But we have 10 bids. You know, I don't know what the right number is. You know, we've never had a really good accounting. The point, though, I think we're saying is that our own rules would say that that impedes traffic, so it shouldn't be in the parking lot.
Well, I'm just adding over here in the requirements for placement of the use of the clothing bin, I just am adding sections for a single location not to interfere with parking, traffic flow, pedestrian traffic, should I add anything else in? Site clearances?
It says that.
Oh, yeah, you know what, site triangles. Site triangle, site clearances. Well, but not in that section, not in
Oh, it's not in that
requirements for
section.
placement. So I will make it clear there. And we'll change the word installation to somewhere that will mitigate it sort of have it on your property for the period.
Well, what about existing ones now that do not comply?
What are you saying? I can't
No, existing ones that do not comply. Say there's one right now that's sitting in a, you know, next to the driveway. And and this is where this ordinance is coming from, because we have some of these bins that are literally at driveway aprons. And we would argue on a site triangle that you can't have a bin at the corner of an apron.
I can understand.
Yeah, so what do we do about existing ones that are non-compliant? Is this,
Well, we're going to come up with, what do you want to, we're going to give them,
we'll give them the opportunity to move it to comply.
well, we're going to give them, let's see, how we put this. Say within 30 days of the effective date of this ordinance, all existing bids must comply and must apply for permits.
With the new rules and regulations.
And I think you can think of the ones, if you're just driving around town, you can see some of them start to inch.
Town that uses them.
And I think all the towns are realizing this is a
That's
problem.
helped a lot of people. I don't want to see people get hurt either.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they're in the back corner, I agree with you, not at the front, the driveway, or, you know. The same thing we have problems with dumpsters. You know, that's why we
You're
have
going to tell
dumpsters.
Acme to move theirs?
They have, I think, more than enough parking.
Yeah, but are you going to tell them to move theirs? You don't like theirs?
Can we exempt
I
government
hate to
entities?
say that, but.
Because, do we exempt government-sponsored ones, Len? Because the DARE is part of the government, or is DARE part of the government? DARE is not part of the government.
It's a program we created, it's not a government.
It wasn't government issue, but
So DARE is like some
police
nonprofit.
do for the children.
That's most,
For me to talk.
So you're going to come up with a way to figure out how we can.
well, I think the Acme's not the problem, I think they have more than enough parking.
It's too much parking.
Well, that would be a mess, you're right, to look at their site plan approval.
How many spaces do they need? How many are there?
They got a whole bunch over there, right?
But what Mark's saying is that if the ordinance calls for 150 spots, and they only have 140, and they just lost 6 to the bins, they're not
All right,
compliant.
so that's another potential. Do you want to address the maximum number of bids on any parcel? So you may not, I'm just, I'm listening to you talk and things are coming into my head, so I'm not lobbying, I'm just throwing it out there.
I thought that was upset because of the ones down in Littleton. Isn't that the ones that you?
The first problem was at the Harry Williams building, that they impeded the K-turn. And that's actually where behind that, because we were told by our engineer that we couldn't even place the dumpster, we had to place the dumpster further back, so that it doesn't impede the K-turn. So we moved those two to the Acme. But you are right now, the Acme went from 6 to 8. So there's this huge wall, but it's in this corner, which you might argue doesn't really bother anybody. But your point, though, is how many spaces are they supposed to have? And that was the only way it made me think government, but really DARE's not even government anyway, it's just a nonprofit that we, you know. They
It's
get,
not going to break them.
and
The
then,
table with contact information, is that one of the requirements?
it is contact information is required.
It's required, I was going to say, because some of them I don't even notice
And then
it.
some of the other ones that have started to encroach, if you're on Clemens Ridge Road at that gas station, you're starting to get closer and closer to the, well, I mean, one's sitting on the sidewalk right now. And then there's a dumpster sitting on the sidewalk too, so.
Yeah, all right, so we'll make those changes and I'll get them out.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, I mean, you know,
Okay, I'll get your.
better to do it right than nothing. Okay, closing in, discussion of health insurance ordinance amendment.
Yeah, I did with that one. So what we did there was we amended your existing ordinance to be consistent with the language in the contract, so the CWA of the firefighters and of the
Please.
and so this is, the first part of this dealing with vacation is right from civil service. The idea was to make it consistent. The second part of it goes with sick time, is that right from civil service, again, to make it consistent so that your non-union employees are getting the same benefits of sick time, vacation, as your union employees. And then the last part of it was what, at the back end of 25 years, turning 65, to make that consistent with the contracts, that the employee would retain coverage, but it would be secondary coverage, and they'd have to pay Medicare to be primary. So we made it consistent with the language in the union contract.
And this only applies to those who are not protected by a contract.
That's correct.
So these are mostly management employees that we're really dealing with. And that's probably about it, right?
Yes.
There's really nobody else.
Yes. But that language comes, the first two come right from the civil service statute, which is in fact in everybody's contract. Although, at least I can tell you. And the last part was one of the things that we negotiated over the last term of the contracts was to make it clear that at 65, an employee had to file for Medicare, so that Medicare doesn't mean primary, and health insurance would be secondary, since you're paying for it, it's obviously, premium is less if there's secondary coverage. We made it consistent.
And 2 points to make out, again, once this was brought to our attention because it was not clear, if you had stated that for the health benefit. As for the vacation time, just to make clear to those members of council and the public, obviously, is that this now reduces, just to make, this was not our intent, but honestly, this is what was done because it's cleaning stuff up. It actually reduces the amount of vacation time that the current management employees get. Is that correct, Mr. Spento?
Is that to say that again? Sorry.
This actually reduces the maximum amount of vacation
Yeah,
time.
but unfortunately not for me. I found that out.
Oh, you're, exactly.
There's case law on tenured positions, so.
So moving forward, that's fine, I understand that, because how do you take something away from somebody that they already got? So it does change new employees. What's that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, so we've changed that, so hopefully there's no problems with that, we'll get that done. Yeah, the rain is coming. Discussion of 3-year cooperative agreement with this community block grant. Once again, that is administered through, we do it as a consortium through the county. The county acts as our agent to go get the money. The money then is filtered through us. I'm the rep for CDBG. This is just an agreement that says that we're staying with the county. Of the 35 municipalities that are, yes, this is from HUD. Yeah, the rain. Most municipalities are part of this group, especially small municipalities. We can't afford to have a full-time community block grant person for $35,000 is all we get. So that would, we couldn't pay somebody to do that, so. What are you laughing over there? On the resolution. Is there anything, did you understand? This is just an agreement. Did you see it's pretty straightforward that we stay with them. Discussion of shared service agreement with Gloucester Township for license plate reader. We found out that the license plate reader that we authorized to purchase, we needed to have a server that would get us all the data. To get a server, absolutely. So for $500 a year, we can partner up with Gloucester Township. So instead of purchasing our own server, and is that correct? This is just a maintenance contract with them to give them, no, they have some caveats, obviously. Again, they say if we run out of space, we kick Runnemede out and things like that. That's all protecting them. Did you see this resolution from Gloucester Township?
I did. So there's nothing unusual.
Yeah, I don't have a copy of it.
They're going to take priority if they already.
Yeah.
That's which is like.
Yeah, but to have the license plate reader without the data, it doesn't work. So we're reading license plates, so this works out. They were very helpful. I have to say Gloucester Township was extremely helpful in the whole process. They encouraged us to work with them the whole bit, so I can't say. because they're the ones that have it. They might be sharing it with them, we don't know, but this was the one, I think everybody's going to Gloucester Township with this. Okay, we did agree to buy 2 of those license plate readers, but at this point, we're only purchasing 1, see if it works, and then decide if we want to do the other one. Otherwise, Mr. Wright has to reappropriate bond money, which I'm sure he's thrilled to do, or cancel it. How do you like that word, cancel the bond? Discussion of change order number 2 with all vinyl. Just to make it clear, which change order is this one?
There's 3 different versions of change orders. Some stuff I requested, some Mike requested. I'm trying to get clarification on all of it. I want to get a better handle on this.
Okay.
Something we had to do with construction, we had a 3-foot by 7-foot gate.
Wasn't big enough to-
7 foot, and it was too tall.
Oh,
So you had to cut it down to 6.5. We were replacing a 7-foot fence, but it was actually 8. So we had to get 8 feet chain link fence or cut the 7-foot fence. So some things.
that was part of the 5%
Yeah,
floating.
something Mike has requested, and I'm trying to get a handle on that.
You know, the only thing, the major change order here, other than, like you talk about construction change orders, is the general consensus, I think, from the committee, from everybody, is that the use of the field right now, the way it was laid out, the kids that are using it are too big, and the field needs to be made larger. There's space to do it, so the idea is to move the fence back to the best we can to keep the kids from hitting a bunch of home runs and being too shallow in center field. I think it's fine. I think he's just recommending moving the existing 4-foot fence back to that new location. I think Mr. Wright felt that it could just be done as it's just a payment of bills kind of things. Is that okay? Still change? I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, I think, Patty, you see, I mean,
So
if we're putting a fence up that doesn't work, I think we have to, like you said, a 6-foot gate or a 7-foot gate.
our next 2 now have a better understanding.
Are you okay?
All the clarity.
So you want to put all the change orders together, get it done, and move it
They
out.
basically wanted to me where they're putting posts in on the field closest to the parking lot, they hit a concrete slab.
Oh, is that what all that concrete was?
Additional labor.
Okay.
So they're trying to get money for money for that. We didn't stop work, we shut things down, they stopped down.
Okay.
So there's little things like that.
Domino effect.
Yeah, so I just want to get everything.
We don't know what's underground yet.
They said change order 2, I'm like, which version of change order 2?
Yeah, but if you get with Mike and just put it all together, I don't think anybody has any problems. I don't think we have no choice really but to finish.
And just to update everybody on that project, since we had to do that change to the dugout, they were supposed to be done May 16th, but because we changed the route, we were able to go last week, and they completed all the work for a long time. So, technically, they wanted to go beyond May 16th, I checked with Mike, and he did it early, that was okay.
Yeah. The only thing, just to keep everybody up to speed, is the Public Works Department will remove the other old fences. If you're aware of that, they're gonna, hopefully this week, weather permitting and time permitting, the old fields will be demoed by Public Works, so that'll save us some money to do all that. Discussion of coin toss application for RYAA. That
They came in
usually,
and requested it for June 21st, I think it is.
I don't see any problem with that. That's usually
On
all
Borough
right.
Street, Borough and County Streets.
Okay. And then we do have a resolution tonight, but we can't do this because we don't have enough members. Sorry about that.
Do you want to talk about this?
No. Did you want to talk anything about the budget this evening? We do have an audience.
I think that we wanted to ask our solicitor what the alternatives are. Can we re-advertise? And
We have to
do it
re-advertise.
Next Tuesday, because it'll probably take about an hour and a half to read the budget. Okay, exactly. Probably take an hour to read the budget.
Yeah, I think we do have to re-advertise it.
Because we have 2 options. We can read it line by line.
Yeah.
The only thing, that's the
I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
cannot read it by title unless we have 2/3 of the
Oh, that's the rule.
majority.
You have to read it if you only have less than.
Now we would have to sit here and read the budget.
Oh, that's okay.
It does not affect the finance department for another week, right? Does not affect you.
No, it's not their finances.
But you know what, that's true, we can do that, and we have enough, we can take action, we just can't take action. But how many of us are
It's 3
out of 6?
out of 6. So we have half. We're supposed to have 2/3.
That's
we
the
couldn't-
capacity.
Yes.
The majority of full governing body though.
Okay. So, but if we wanted to act, how many people would you still need four?
Four.
Oh, yeah.
So we can't act, we can't even table it because we don't have four. Okay. Because Mark made a good point, we could table it, we would have to advertise, but we don't have enough people to table it, so.
So we re-advertise and we do it on the June.
The majority of the full membership, there's no way to count this and that as a majority of the full membership? Is that 7?
We stretch it. The mayor does vote on a case of a time.
Only on the top.
On a case of a time.
I think it needs four
It's not
council.
worth it if we had to redo the whole thing.
I think it needs four council.
4 council people, that's fine.
It just does, it was 3-3, so it would vote. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why we have it. I get it.
Uh,
Okay, so that's the.
That's the end of that. No public hearing. Does anybody have anything else? There was one other thing that was brought up, and it was not on the agenda, and Public Works is not even here to talk about it, and Mark, if you had anything to go over, was the borough can paint 25 feet from a corner each direction without a borough ordinance to do that, correct?
For the park.
Yes.
Is that the ordinance for stop signs?
You had a question with a question.
Yes. I don't think I can answer stuff I don't know, so.
Because one of the thoughts is the property, the Forest Avenue issue. You know, the Forest Avenue issue is that maybe the first thing we could try to do is if we can simply just, if we're allowed without changing the whole street and doing all that, is if we just simply paint the first 25 feet, maybe in both directions. Well, not both directions, you know what I'm saying, as you're coming up Shepherd, that's 25 feet to the end, or I don't guess you can't do that, it's where the stop sign is.
25 or 30 feet.
There's a stop sign. Or, what's that?
Yeah.
No.
See,
No, not for the other one.
What's the name?
Numerically, where the clothing bid ordinance should go.
Shelby.
Put it in
No,
five.
it's right on Forest.
Triton Street.
No.
Triton.
No.
You're talking about Forest. Forest, when you turn left, what street is that?
But if you're coming down, if you're coming off Shubert Avenue straight down, that's a
Davis.
different street.
Yes.
That isn't Shepherd.
No, I'm sorry, it's not Shepherd.
Davis.
Shepherd's over by you. It's not Davis. Wrong
If you're
street.
coming off of where?
Where the eyeglass place is.
What's the name of that street?
Forest.
Stratford. I was close. Stratford. So Stratford, but there's a stop sign, so you couldn't put it
I thought
there.
it was 30 feet. It's the other stop sign.
Strike that.
Is there a stop sign? It's right about that. Okay, so there's a stop sign. That's the T.
It's Forest is a straight. You would have to first do an ordinance to add stop signs. There's no stop sign.
Yeah, we have one
Oh,
stop
Forest.
sign, yes, we do.
Not there at the corner of, not a Forest and Stratford.
I asked before about that, the three-way stop sign. We'd be, that's,
So we have to have an ordinance.
But there is no three-way.
That would be.
You wouldn't be able to get
that's what
around,
the
that would
ordinance
be
would
the
be, a
ordinance.
three-way stop sign.
If the police chief thought it was a safety.
Now it isn't him,
Five-fold over. So this is,
Well, even if it was already there,
there is a stop sign.
One, Stratford.
Right, Stratford.
You just wanted to put no parking, 25
There's a
feet
guy
in Forest.
Yeah, the
Right?
guy parks his white pickup. Right at the end.
I had them painted, moving back before, 30
Right.
feet should be from the
And
corner.
you can't see either way.
I checked.
That might help the solution.
it's just a
But
signature.
instead of standing
anywhere?
Where
It's
it's
under
a
council.
council person.
okay.
And it'll just say.
All I'm saying is we're thinking, instead of changing the whole street, if we could just come back 25 and paint it, right?
Mayor?
Okay, so we have to just check that. So if the ordinance allows for 25 feet, no parking on an intersection, then we could paint 25 feet. Let's look at that.
He was told before so many times that
Stop
means
sign. There's no.
It's almost like it's a spite
By law,
thing.
there's no distance of the stop sign. Whatever that distance is, you can paint that, no problem.
So even on the other side,
Every time I drive there, he's
Not
always,
the stop sign.
not,
No parking.
It's not really there.
Add a stop
it's
sign.
always about.
you can't park yet.
It's 25 feet, I'm not sure. Fine.
So on Stratford, you could park, you could do yellow here, and then possibly yellow 25 feet that way. Oh, really, though?
Well, that's.
So this one we can't do. This one we could do.
Always the issue.
You hear what he's saying? We could do this sign, but we couldn't do this sign.
Yes, and you bang it a couple times with tickets, and you.
Without doing an ordinance.
But then we need an ordinance for this sign.
It's like, we did a case and.
This isn't a site clearance, this is more of a
Well, Pine and Davis.
safety
Pine and Davis.
for site clearance. So we justify it. How do you justify when the road's too narrow? Site clearance?
If the car is parked there, you can't see the stop sign. It's like,
Okay, so we're gonna have to do an ordinance. You have to give us a legal.
That's the only, is that the only place the resident parks?
He chooses to park.
He's got plenty of parking on the other street.
Yeah, it's a decent sized
Does he live
lot.
right there?
He does. I personally think that he does it to slow people down and to stop people
But
from
you
cutting
can't
down.
see when you get killed.
I don't disagree, I'm just telling you why I think his intent is. He does it because it bothers him that people cut through Forest.
You think so?
That's why we have speed bumps on Forest.
Well, no, that was because that guy wanted it, if you remember
The
him.
council didn't have to approve it.
Okay.
That guy was.
All right, so we're gonna have to do an ordinance for that. Is there any, did you have anything, Mark? Did you want to do any report or?
Well, the only other thing you didn't talk about, I think Leah sent you a sign ordinance.
Yes, we have a draft of the sign ordinance that was sent. What copy was it? Was the one sent to you, Glenn?
I don't remember seeing this.
Should it go back to the planning board before it comes to us, an ordinance like that? Or do you think that it's not really, it could just be council, it just takes action? What typically
I
happens?
don't think it's, I don't think it's land use technically, so I don't think it's to go back. I think they're gonna be the ones that people are gonna apply for to get variance from the sign ordinance.
It's part of their master plan, correct?
I
It
would say
is.
Sign.
Signs are part of
Then
that.
yes, then yes.
All right, so we'll allow it to go to them first before it comes to us.
I got it.
All right. So we'll get their input before it comes back.
Trust me.
It's 14.
It is 14 pages. So she's very thorough. It's very good. The only thing that of course, being in sign business, I gave her a hard time because she represents a lot of municipalities. And she does not allow electronic message boards. She doesn't like them. She thinks that everyone should come for a variance. And of course, I know, I disagree with that because I think, well, can't you just write an ordinance that, or, write something that limits it to some extent? So she compromised with me, if you can believe that, she compromised it. So she said something that basically allows it. It's a permitted use, but everybody would have to come in front of the planning board to show them where, because her point, which was valid, how do you stop without this really onerous ordinance if you had 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year? So she's saying, instead of trying to write that all up, make it a permitted use, but make people come in front of the
It's a
planning board.
conditional.
It's a conditional use. And then they come in and prove that it's not going to be,
Yeah, that actually makes, that
yes,
makes
boom,
sense.
boom, boom.
Because that was,
Be very distracting.
when I was thinking about things that I could do after I retired, one of the things at the top of the list was I was going to drive through Worcester Township and Cherry Hill, they were picking on those two, and see if I could find 10 signs that were in compliance with the ordinance. Just 10.
That work.
That were.
That work, I agree with you.
Because.
They make everybody get a variance.
Because it's ridiculous. It's 12 square feet, only one side, you can sit there, you can't be more than 3 feet, who can see that?
Their
So you
ordinance,
have to go in and spend $1 million to get approved.
their ordinance at one time was defined that you had to add both sides of the sign.
Right.
I remember going in front of that board one time.
And what's that? Oh, yeah.
Well, you could put a single-sided sign up, I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They threw us out, John Dallas, they threw us out. So-
And it was not, it was like 20 square feet or something, it was not a big number when you added up two sides of the sign, it was silly.
Do they need a resolution for that to the planning board or?
The planning board wanted to start this process, it was part of their master plan, and Lee even says that in her letter, doesn't she? She says this was originally part of the master plan.
Yeah, because we're not taking the exit, that's, I think, you can do a resolution you want, but I don't think it's the other way.
You know, we need to hand them something. It is 14 pages
What you're doing.
That's the recommendation. Joyce, or you or like who's?
I can forward it.
long. Yeah, if you can forward it to the whole, and then make it, and have June put it on the agenda, for discussion. And then we're good with everything else, right? We did the drive-through, we did the townhouses, so the sign ordinance was the last thing. There's something else the planning board asked me about.
Where is the drive-through ordinance at this moment? What is the status of that?
Didn't we do first reading on that?
We did first reading back in January. We haven't adopted that, have we?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think we, remember first reading we did.
So what would we have to do, though? Would we have to?
We have to have to advertise it in a public hearing, but I don't know where you are.
All right, I'll find out, we'll bring it up for next time. I'll make sure that it's fine.
The amendments to it or the revisions.
There was amendments to it, to change some more of the conditional uses. So we'll get that. I thought we'd already done, we did first reading, but
First
it was
reading
only
in
by title.
January.
That's me.
Yeah, we did it by title.
Yeah. Okay, so the drive-through has to be brought back up. It's too late to do for next week, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
because we have to notice, we have to give notice.
And then that would also be the townhouses too then? Yeah, I guess we-
Yeah, because we haven't had the hearing on that either.
So that's the only thing I had to affect the agenda. Everything else is just progress. We started surveying Washington Boulevard. I got to meet with John Graham, I guess that's the week for Irish Hill Road. We gave the notice of proceeds for the two doors here and for those chains out at the Beaver Branch Park. And all the materials ordered, we're just waiting for it to come in. I think that's pretty much it. It's like a storm, so it doesn't fly open. So there's 3 chains.
Oh, right,
And
that's
then
what
we're
it
also
is.
putting in those door closers, so the doors will be shut.
For the bathhouse.
You had asked me about what's going on with the water up there with, the water company and,
That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about,
John
that's the
Graham.
chair, that
John,
job.
yeah, meeting with John Graham from New Jersey American Water.
Oh.
He called me. tried
And the
to-
fire.
Low water pressure. He called me with a date and that didn't work, and I called him back, and it's just a little bit of scheduling.
But your general conversation with him was that he doesn't think there's a way to improve,
But we're gonna find that out.
Okay.
Meeting.
because the argument
Is
is
that
get it done,
Robert? Is
yeah,
that Irish
before we
you're
pay.
talking about?
Because the argument is if some business came in and needed more water for sprinklers, or something, there's not enough pressure on it.
Right.
So that's an argument.
So I'll get that meeting set up.
And then the only thing I think this council needs to do is, we'd like to at least authorize the engineer to say, Belmar formally, that we're gonna hire them to do this road, that we're accepting their proposal, and they're, because I think we need to do something for them. Do you agree when we do these shared services, we need to say to them that we're agreeing? We just don't have a time frame. That's the only bad part about it. Can we say,
Right now, we have a quote from them. I just gotta get him our plans now, so we have a survey, we just double check with him, so I'll get Joe, our revised plan.
okay, so he has to change
He
his.
just said I'm gonna do 800 feet by 23 feet.
It might be 820 feet.
Right,
Right.
so let him get him a set of plans, get a proposal back, and then we can take action.
And our focal action can have a time frame.
Yeah, because we don't have our time.
Right. So I'll get Joe our set of plans and request a formal proposal, and then we can take action on that.
And you will let everybody know we didn't get DOT funding this year. We were denied.
Yes.
So that hurts us a little bit.
And that's pretty much the way I think it's pretty much
Cyclical.
every other year cycle.
Yeah, so-
and
Out of the 37 towns, 20 some get
and
it.
next year, we talked about doing Open Avenue, which I think is gonna be a better application than
Then Reed again.
Reed
So it's a
phase.
new road. Okay.
and it addresses.
Is that the discretionary or is that the regular?
That was a regular one.
We're going to do a discretionary?
If you want us to, we can. We could actually put it on South Oakland as a discretionary and see if we can get funding for it.
You want to do that?
All they can do is say that.
You, we have to
You
get
need
it
a
from us?
resolution before authorizing us to
Any
resubmit.
resolution?
Yeah.
Okay. So this would be a resolution, which one would it be, Joyce?
I don't have the things I
So
did.
we're not, we can't do it Tuesday.
Well, we have three numbers.
Was that what it was? 5?
It's majority.
You have 6, you have
We're
6
quorum.
quorum, because mayor counts for a quorum. So you have 6 council people. Mayor can only vote in a
Right.
So
tie.
three,
So we need
three.
people don't show up?
Right, because you have 6 people. You need 4.
It was one time. Some
If
places
it's
say-
one tie, then mayor can vote, break the tie.
All right, so we'll do a resolution next week.
But I'll start the application.
We're gonna ask, there's the first application, and then there's a second application. And we can say, if discretionary, if they want to, they can give us money now.
Didn't we get it one time?
We might have done it one
I
time.
think we did.
Three-
For one of the three avenues, I
We got
think.
$300,000.
Yeah, because
Because the engineer did it.
that's what it was. It was a great sound
We
check.
just have to-
Do it.
Who was the engineer?
All right, look at me. Do it again.
Did you have anything else, Glenn? Did you, Rich, did you have anything else? Anyone, Joyce? Anyone else?
Voting will be here tomorrow, but this is our first time.
And we're prepared for that? All these chairs, tables?
We are all prepared. Thursday should be
Oh, the-
the magic turnover.
The Board of Alliance just came in and they're using this
Good.
for the voting and then,
Well, actually, convenient for your constituents.
Yeah. The schools requested this, all the schools were requesting.
Yeah, the schools are trying to
Washington.
get out of business.
Washington.
Unless they have an area where that they can really block off. And it probably
And
makes,
even with it blocked off, they really want you out of the school.
yeah,
Years ago, there was schools.
yes. It makes so much more sense.
Okay, we'll open it up later. This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. I'm trying to remember something. I forgot.
Sorry, I thought you were doing it because I was coming up. My name's Angela, 12 South Oakland Avenue. While we're talking about clothing bins in parking lots and everything else, have any of you rode down South Oakland Avenue lately? Because there's one right on the corner. And you need to hear what time they empty that, and it is for profit. You're donating your clothes, and a truck is coming and picking that up. I did this fundraiser, we did a
Yeah,
fundraiser.
Miss Moore, that's the one that I think is one of the ones that she's
It's
very
an eyesore,
concerned.
it's up against Bridge Deli. There's not 3 feet in between the building and the sidewalk, and there's a big clothing bin. So everyone passing by on Bridge Road pulls over, drops more than just clothes in there. It smells disgusting, it looks disgusting, it's horrible. But while we're talking about the Dare ones, let's remember, I'm gonna piggyback the mayor on this. I was the one, I'm so big still on this municipal alliance grant. We're all excited because we have a new plan for 2014. Nobody still answered 2011, 12, and 13 for me. So I don't care who has to do a K-turn or anything else. Those bins solely support there. Solely support there. And if those get moved, yeah, no, they do. Because I asked the police, I asked the policeman how Dare is supported, and they said 100% by the clothing bins. That's what I was told by
That's
Senator.
incorrect.
So why are we talking about moving two of the most important
That's
minutes?
incorrect.
All right, well, you're saying
Where
you're,
you got moving
all right, don't move that, please.
So we are talking about
Because that's
the
a
ones
huge-
in the parking lot here.
Yeah,
I would hear.
yeah.
Because they're not proper. They should not be in the parking area where you could have, where it was
There's a lot of
decided.
things in this town that aren't proper, so we can go.
That's why we're slowly fixing
All
them.
right, but please leave those, that DARE program is huge in the schools.
Yeah, the DARE program, just to let you know, the municipal alliance money does pay for the graduation ceremony, things like that. What the DARE bins provide is credits for the police department.
They buy the kids stuff to it.
They use their credits to buy the pens and the different things like that. The DARE program does not reimburse for the pizza that we bring there, the lunches, things like that, if we did any try.
They
Wait a
pay
minute,
for their
that,
own money.
as
No,
far
that's
as I
not
was
money,
told,
it's a
that
credit.
stopped within the last 2 years.
Mr. Wright, do you want to at least explain the DARE budgeting?
The DARE, using the term in the grade school, or grade 5, whatever it is, that our police officers go there, those officers' time is paid for by the Borough of Runnemede. And the cost
The time is paid for by the
associated
Borough of
with that, for the graduation and things of that nature, is reimbursed by,
Municipal alliance.
it's not a lot of, and there's also a balance in that line item.
Yeah. So the bins do not pay for the officer's time, which we are
That's
paying.
fine.
But at the same time,
Right,
if
so you should.
if they took trinkets to the class, more than likely they would.
They use that,
account,
those credits,
like
yes.
a finger hutting.
Yes.
And it's very important. I mean, I had 2
Well,
children.
we're not arguing that,
Yeah.
but what we're saying though is that the
That's not true.
That's not what I said. That's absolutely not what I said.
Back when,
maybe
see,
with someone else.
it's just all so gray, because back when I asked what the municipal alliance covered, it didn't cover that, and I know that for a fact, it was all gray, just to see, and
Hold on, Mayor.
very gray, very gray.
Do you understand what's going on over there, Betsy?
We're talking.
Okay.
They're very important, and so is the DARE program.
Their program is very important.
It is very,
But do you know how much money each bin brings in?
well, considering I was told that the DARE program is self-supported by those bins, probably a lot, because I can bring, if you need me to bring in what my kids got for graduation, I think it's.
Okay. This is a very, it's much more
Right.
complicated than
It's a
exactly
very
what
gray
you're
area.
saying. Because that question I'm asking you, this was asked before, and the idea was, we were trying to determine how many bins do we need to justify the program. That information was very vague. There was no real quantifying way of saying what a bin turns into in dollars and things like that.
Not a
So
lot.
even though we weren't clear exactly, we didn't get rid of the bins. We just felt that the bins we were hurting the parking lot over there, and we think that they're, to an extent, hurting the parking lot here.
The parking lot here fills up when? Only
Court?
with court. Right,
Meetings. We're gonna have voting here.
right, understood. But I feel as though that's a very gray area, because if you remember, I was told that a large portion of the municipal lines went to the school, and that's not true either. So there's a lot of not true facts, and I just want to make sure that a program that a lot of kids in Runnemede benefit from isn't taken.
Not a non-facts.
What's that?
We'll get our facts
All
together.
right, please. Well, I mean, it's just, I was told that, do you remember? I was told that.
That is a correct statement. The majority of municipal alliance funds do go to the school.
It does.
Amen. It
To
does.
school-funded issues.
Correct. Red Ribbon Week.
I
Anything
have
else?
that documentation. You're preaching, if
Anyone else wish
I,
to speak?
ugh.
See no one else?
Are you
Can I get a motion to
serious?
close the public portion? There's only the two of you.
I'm gonna get everybody a copy of what I say to school.
Close this portion, please.
Oh, I second it.
Really? All in favor? You too? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public portion is closed. I couldn't remember what I wanted to say, so,
Now you get it.
oh, I know what I needed. I now remember.
Motion to adjourn? Is that
No,
what you want to say?
we got one more thing, I slowly forgot. We have to change the meeting in August. We advertised for the Tuesday, but because the National Night Out is Tuesday night, it's too difficult to move the meeting forward. Is everybody okay with just moving the meeting to Wednesday? Does that hurt? That might hurt you? Does that hurt you?
I'll figure it out. Do we know the date?
The first Tuesday, the first Wednesday.
First Wednesday in August.
Let's see, the Fourth of July is Friday.
What?
So
It would be
second
August
July
the
would be
6th
Thursday,
instead of
first
August the
July,
5th.
so it would be-
August 6th.
August 6th.
August 6th.
So if we can make it, can we have a resolution at the meeting to change? We'll make that. Just advertise for August 6th. Same time, 7 PM, August 16th. Okay, now do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting this evening.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.